They say if you can drive manual, you can drive just about anything, and they're right. Because once you know how to drive stick, you'll have a better understanding of how the transmission works, what's going on inside the car, and how to better drive it, so that if you do get in a bind, where the only way out is a manual transmission car, you'll be ready. And after all, who wouldn't want to drive one? They're safer, more responsive, you get better mileage, and they're just more fun to drive. In case you haven't guessed already, this video is going to be on how to drive stick shift. I'm going to show you how to start the car, stop the car, and everything in between. So sit back and enjoy the ride. So before we get started, let me show you the basic parts of a manual transmission car. So I'm going to go over the basic components of a manual transmission vehicle. These are the three pedals. On the left you have the clutch, which is used for shifting and a bunch of different things. It's extremely important. In the middle you have the brakes, and on the right you have the gas. Alright, now the last two components are the gear shift right here and the emergency brake right here, also extremely important. Alright, so in this video I'm going to show you just kind of explain the different gears. Right now it's in first gear, just because when you're starting a manual transmission car, you typically want to do it in first gear. Now with this car you can start it in second, but I wouldn't recommend it for just starting, because you have to put in a lot more gas when you try to get moving. And if you're not experienced and practice with that, you're probably going to end up stalling the car out. So as with shifting to any gear, to get from first to second, you want to fully depress the clutch and then pull straight back. And then to get from second to third, you want to pop it up into neutral and then push up one more time. And then to get from third to fourth, you just pull straight back. And then from fourth to fifth, you want to pop it back up into neutral, move it to the right and up. So now it's in fifth gear. And this is neutral gear. It's in the middle. It's not, obviously it's not engaged. So if you try to put gas into it, you'll just rev the engine. And if the brakes aren't on, the car's going to roll. So I guess there's one more, it's reverse. And to get into reverse, you just want to move it to the right and back. So now I'm just going to move it back into first. Now that you know the components, it's time to show you how to start the car. Alright, so basically when you're starting the car, it's very simple. All you gotta do is put the clutch all the way in, make sure your foot's on the brake and the emergency brake is disengaged. It's in first gear, so you definitely want to have it in first or neutral when you start the car, so I'm just going to start it. Simple. With all that out of the way, it's time to start driving. Alright, so the very first part about driving a manual transmission, and it's probably the most important, is rev matching. And all that is slowly applying pressure to the gas while gradually lifting up on the clutch. If you do this too fast, you're going to stall the car out. And if you do it too soon, all you're going to do is lug the engine and you're not really going to go anywhere. So we're in first gear right now, so here we go. There you go, shift to second. And then up to third, once you hit about 2,000 RPMs. And since the speed limit's only about 30 on this road, I'm just gonna stay at this speed. Alright, so when you're stopping the car, you put in the clutch and you want to shift down to second gear. See, there's a stop sign here, so I'm going to stop fully. And I'm turning right, so obviously put on your turn signal. So once you're stopped, you want to put it back into first gear and then go. And shift to second, third. And since this road, the speed limit's a bit higher, I'm going to go up to fourth. And then just cruise it. So we're about to merge onto 35. This is kind of show you guys how to pass, different things like that. So I'm in fifth gear, I'm going all about 60. So you just obviously do what you're going to do if you're going to merge in a normal car, get up to speed and whatnot. So to pass a car, you want to drop it into the gear right below the one you're in. So I'm in fifth. To pass this car in front of me, I'm going to drop it into fourth and just accelerate. So I'm just going to get it. So in front of the car, I'm going to go back and forth, just accelerate. Make sure it's safe to get back over. And there you go. Put it back into fifth. And go. Alright, so the light is red right now, and I'm in first gear. And what I'm going to show you how to do is switch straight from second to fourth. So you basically only want to use that when you're trying to get really far ahead, if like someone's going really fast behind you and you need to speed up. So here we go, I'm in first gear right now, I'm moving, and so shift down to second, or up to second I should say. And then you get your RPMs up to about 3,000 to 4,000, you're going about 40 miles an hour, and then you just go second to fourth. It's very simple. Next thing I'm going to show you is pretty much how to coast. And that is, you just put it in the neutral, take your foot off the clutch, put your foot on the brake so you can slow down, and just let it, let your momentum carry you to the light. So that's how to coast. So all you got to do is, so when you're upshifting, the main thing that you got to make sure you're doing is that you always put in the clutch fully, take your foot completely off the gas, and then shift, and then rev match a little bit. Once you're going though, once you're in third or fourth gear or whatnot, you really don't have to worry as much about rev matching as you would if you're in, say, first or second. So it's a bit easier on that aspect. Second braking. What you want to do is, you see you got to stop, so you put it in the second, start slowing down. You don't want to do this too soon. You want to get to where your RPMs are just below 1,000, and then take your foot off the clutch, and then let the car just slow itself down. And then once you start getting up, you just put your foot back in the clutch and do all that. Good. So you're driving, but there's only one problem. How do you stop it? So the last part of the video is pretty much I'm just going to show you how to park and stop the vehicle. So I'm coming up on where I want to park. So I'm just going to kind of put the clutch in. It's in second already, so I don't need to downshift the second. Just kind of slow down, make sure nobody's behind me going to rear end me when I stop. And then stop. And then once you're stopped, you can just put it in first. Turn the car off, make sure your foot's still on the brake, and then emergency brake up, and you're good. So that's how to drive a stick shift. So to wrap things up, I really hope you've learned a lot this video, and you might even have decided to start driving a stick shift yourself. After all, manual transmissions are the way to go. They're safer, they get better mileage, and you're always in control of the car, more so than when you're driving an automatic. So you've learned everything from starting up to shutting down. And I really hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Now remember what they say, if you can drive stick, you can drive anything, so get out there and do it.